you want to do?
Just press record. Yeah, we're going, dude.
Hey, this is Tim.
What? I wasn't ready, Tim.
You just said we're going.
No,
Hey, this is Tim.
What? I wasn't ready, Tim.
You just said we're going.
No, you ready?
Hey, this is Tim.
We're going. Hey.
And you're listening to One Good Story, the podcast. Or watching One Good Story, the podcast. At some point, we're going to put these
lucky.
up. We're going to put these up on video.
On the video screen.
All right. Visual? Visual content?
We're going to put it on public TV.
Are you done?
No.
Okay.
I got 2 more hours of this.
2 hours?
Yeah, buddy. Let's go.
Oh, man.
I didn't sleep last night.
The story's not that long.
I didn't sleep that night last night, so I'm revved up.
You should take a nap.
Nope.
Okay.
I sleep on Sunday.
Justin.
Tim.
This is the first episode of a new series that we have done in a very long time.
Well, didn't we just record one a couple weeks ago?
We did. It was not an episode in a series. It was just kind of a
you're saying
100th.
a serial episode.
Yeah, we're opening a series for the first time probably over a year.
Yeah. Well, way over a year probably, eh?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember when we did the
We're just bad at homework. Oh no, sorry. I'm bad at homework. You were ready to go.
Yeah.
I just had excuses up the wazoo for the last year.
I mean, I have also been doing 1,000 different things other than preparing to host a podcast.
I was ready to take the whole blame right there, and you went ahead and just
I
took
don't
the ball
really
out of my hands.
want you to take the whole blame.
I am the sacrificial lamb here.
It doesn't seem very equitable.
Doesn't have to be equitable.
Okay.
Was David equitable? Was he?
What does that mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
So we're starting a new series, guys. Justin and I both actually in the last few weeks went and saw the movie David, the cartoon movie that came out over Christmas of 2025 or around Christmas of 2025.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it.
Brand new hit musical.
It was a musical.
Because David was a
musician.
There you go.
Yeah, we had a conversation about this a couple weeks ago where Justin saw it, I don't know, at least a week before I did, and he was telling me about it. And he said, it's music, a lot of music. And I was like, yeah, okay, it's a kid's movie. Of course, there was a lot of, that makes, or not of course, but that makes a lot of sense. Kids movies like to break into
music.
Song a lot or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I started watching it, and every one of these songs is filled with like quotes from the Psalms.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right, David is a musical.
Takes Tim a minute.
Because,
okay.
It does usually.
It's fun though. It's a good time. Getting there, the journey. It's great. He hates me right now. This is great.
So
101 episodes, guys.
Yeah, so David
it's a great movie.
Yeah,
I
enjoyed the movie, right?
I brought 4 of my children into the Huber Heights with the recliners.
Mm-hmm.
And first off, stickiest floor on earth. And I'm not sure if you've ever been there during the time. I'm not sure what kind of mill is near there, but it smells terrible outside.
Oh, really?
Like stale, damp Cheez-Its. I'm serious. That's what I smell. When
I've been to that theater a handful of times.
Yeah.
I never noticed the
Great
smell,
theater. Great. Nothing wrong with the theater. The line was a little long because because apparently Angel Studios did like a free thing. If you signed up for their subscription service, they gave you 2 free tickets to the thing. So that was the free day, I guess, that they all went.
Gotcha.
Of course, I picked that day to go.
Yeah.
But the line for the food was actually longer than the line to David.
Mm.
And and Stranger Things was playing too. That was fun.
Stranger Things was in the movie theater?
Yeah, the last 2 episodes apparently. I didn't know either until I was there.
I love that I was trying to get you to give a review of David, but you've actually given a review of the movie theater.
I love the movie theater. No, I don't go enough. I don't get out, Tim. I have 6 kids at my house.
We should open every episode with you reviewing some entertainment venue or restaurant.
Sounds great.
That's somewhere in the greater Dayton area.
I mean, anything from Stella Blue in Springfield to Taco Bell on South Lime. No, the movie was good. I liked it. I appreciated. They had a lot of nods to things that wouldn't normally have been in a movie that would be for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I keep talking about it, and I don't care if it's a spoiler alert. It's not really a big spoiler.
Yeah.
David kills Goliath.
What?
Yep. And when he kills him, not only does a rock get stuck in his head, which I find hilarious, but they the King Saul, has a sword and he's like, or a spear, and he's walking through town with Goliath's helmet on top, and I'm like, okay, like I get you don't want to have like entrails coming off the back, the bottom of his neck.
Yeah.
And
there's a nod to
everywhere.
Decapitation.
There's
but
a
we're
nod
not.
to decapitation.
Yeah, and there was a lot, like all the battle scenes were kind of just like one army chasing another army.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, there's a really delicate balance of like, hey, we're gonna tell the story of David, but David is kind of a war story.
Yeah,
and so if you're gonna make it palatable for 5-year-olds, you kind of have to figure out a way to not have blood everywhere.
I give it 8 nods out of 10.
8 nods?
Yeah, nods, because they're nodding to the decapitation.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, see heads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work.
That's fine.
It's okay. Seth, did it work at all? Not at all.
So anyway, we
liked it.
I enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot. It got into some like some of the deeper themes of David's life that you wouldn't expect in like a kid's cartoon. I guess it was better than surface level, and I thought the characters were deep and complex. Like Saul was very like
he had a lot of layers.
I really loved the way they portrayed Saul's like terror. His just I don't know what you want to call it, but basically the oppression that was on his spirit.
He seemed much more of a victim than I think I've previously thought.
Mm-hmm. But also like dangerous, like
unstable for
in
sure.
that way. Like it was clear that he was being tormented. Torment is probably what I want.
That's the best.
But at the same time, like
agree.
he's also very like that torment makes him unpredictable and dangerous.
Yeah.
And that was really, I thought that was really well done. If you want to see the movie, you should. But anyway, because that was what we actually talked before the movie came out, before I knew it was a thing, about doing a series on David a long time ago. And with that coming out and both of us watching it, I was like, we should just go ahead and do that series.
Well, no, what we said was like, let's do. We missed 2 major characters of the Old Testament in our first 100 episodes. And it was like, well, which ones? And it was the double D, David and Daniel.
We
haven't really struck them hard. We have. They've shown up, but we haven't actually given them real time, and they deserve a lot of time. There's a lot of literature written on them in the Bible.
Yes, we talked about both of them, I think, in our Prophets, Priests, and Kings series.
Yeah, for sure.
And we may have even spent like a couple episodes on. No, I don't know whether we did on David or not. We did an episode on David. Well, you know what it was? We talked about Nathan the prophet, which is also kind of a David story.
Yeah, he's in there.
And we talked about David. So David has come up. He's been in the podcast. But we haven't done like his story is a big chunk of scripture. In 1st and 2nd Samuel.
Yeah.
Starting in 1 Samuel 16, then all the way through 2 Samuel. So like a book and a half of the Bible is dedicated to just the narrative story of David. And that's really not common.
Not to include the Psalms at all.
Yeah, sure. And so, the Psalms have a lot of his actual written work and poetry. And throughout Chronicles and Kings, all of those books kind of are the aftermath of David's life, essentially. Like everything comes back to David. Every king after David is compared to David.
Yeah.
And so he's this massive character in Scripture. And really, you can't tell the story of the Bible. You can't really get to Jesus. You can't get a full picture of who Jesus is supposed to be without talking about David.
Well, literally, you can't get to Jesus without David because it's linearly.
Yeah, literally, there's a
genetic trace to him. Yeah. They are related. They're kin.
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 I thought you said Keenan, and I was like Keenan.
Keenan and Kel.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not following.
Welcome to Good Burger. Home of the Good Burger. No, okay.
When I think of Keenan anymore, I don't think all the way back to Good Burger.
That's all I think of.
Well, whatever. Shout out Kenan Thompson if you're listening.
He's not.
Yeah. So anyway, David. So we're gonna do a 6-part series on David. This is part 1.
Today we're actually starting that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is.
We're not gonna. We are doing it right now.
Sure. I feel like you're arguing semantics.
I'm waiting for him to say "shut up" at this point, right? Like, that's what I'm waiting.
Is
for.
that what you want?
Kinda.
You want me to like yell
keep
at you
going,
so that then I just talk exclusively and you don't say anything? The the movie was cool. Go see it or don't go see it. That's fine. We're not really going to talk about the movie anymore beyond this, but we are the first probably 3 episodes of the podcast are going to cover a lot of the things. So if you go see the movie and then you're like, oh, this is not like a 6-week review of the movie. It was just kind of
we should review
a
it,
starting point. I tried, but you want to talk about the floors at the movie theater.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Again, I like the movie. It was pretty good. The music, I listen to the music now with my kids. Like, I'll turn it on, and Araya dances around to it. She likes it a lot. But we're going to start with Samuel and David.
Yeah.
And, go through his life. Well, not Samuel's life, but we're going to talk basically about, you can't talk about David without talking about, or where David, like, his origin story without talking about Saul.
Yeah.
And you can't talk about Saul without talking about Samuel.
Samuel's kind of important here.
Samuel is very important. And so we're going to talk about Samuel anointing David, which is where David just kind of shows up on the picture. But mainly this episode is going to be probably more about Samuel and Saul than it is about
You got to set
David
it up,
himself.
Tim.
Yeah.
Also, in the movie, do you think they depicted Samuel in a good light or in a just a generic light?
I thought that Samuel, he's a pretty minor character. He only shows up for probably, he's important to
20 minutes, probably.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's probably 7 or 8.
Oh,
Like, he kind of pops in, and
he's present for about 20 minutes.
Anoints
in the timeline because he comes back after David kills Goliath.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he has a whole thing, little spiel there.
Oops.
It's okay. I'm just trying to figure out.
Oh, you're good.
The depiction of Samuel. How do you feel about that?
I thought it was fine. I think that they really nailed again, one of the aspects we're going to talk about, which is that what Samuel is doing by anointing David is treacherous. Like, the implications of what Samuel is doing are potentially catastrophic for David and his family.
Sure.
And so I think sometimes when the story of Samuel anointing David is told, there's a major focus on the 7 brothers, and David's the littlest.
Yeah.
And so Samuel goes and, like, it's not the outside that counts, but what God sees on the inside. And so he may just be a little shepherd boy, but he's the one who's going to be king, even though Samuel thought it would be the oldest, who's the like striking one who looks very kingly.
Strong.
And so that becomes like the whole story of it. But in reality, there's this whole implication, which is clearly stated in the text, which is if Saul finds out that his successor is being anointed while he's alive, like, everyone who's in that room is dead.
And I remember getting in the weeds on this one when I was younger, when I went through this with another group, and we went through how it's like David didn't look like his brothers either. He had different color hair. Like, he was actually a different looking dude.
The passage goes into actually David's physical description, which is very rare for a character in the Bible. They don't, most stories don't bother to tell you anything about the physical characteristics other than, like, Samson having long hair.
Sure.
Like, unless it's like specifically important to the plot.
I had heard from somebody at some point, this might just be a theory, I'm not sure, you can maybe enlighten me if it's not, that it's possibly because he was not a legitimate son of the family, that he was not mom and dad's, he was just dad's, or dad's just mom's. Like, there's a question there in some people's minds that says, not only is he not the son, like, not like a legitimate, he's a bastard son.
Yeah.
And that's who gets chosen. So it's like even more of an outsider than just being the youngest, littlest, weakest. Also, bloodline's kind of weird, and I've heard that before.
Yeah, I think I've heard that, like, tossed around. There's not really any
there's no
reason from Scripture to think that. But if you have 7 kids in a family and 6 of them all look alike and one of them doesn't, people make jokes.
Yeah, for sure.
They always do. Be like, oh, where'd that one come from? Like,
yeah. I had a friend back when I was a kid, and he looked not like his mom at all, or his dad. And there's I remember a lot of schoolyard jokes about that kid. And
my mom has pale complexion and freckles and red hair, and her brother has pale complexion and freckles and red hair. And her youngest sister has pale complexion, freckles, and red hair.
Yeah.
And then she has another sister who has dark skin and dark curly hair. and just doesn't look anything like the other three of
rest.
them.
Yeah.
And her and her brother would constantly tell their other sister that she was adopted.
Yeah.
Like just to terrorize her.
My
when
buddy,
she
the
was
same
little.
thing. We'd ask him like, did your mom find you somewhere? Like what happened?
So I mean, people like to make jokes. and-
Yeah, it's probably.
So I mean, maybe it's possible that's where that's
yeah,
heading, and that's the reason you're getting a description. Is,
yeah. At the very least, he's definitely an outsider.
Yeah. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Though. We should probably read this,
You can
unless
read
you don't
parts
want to
of
read it.
Yeah.
I can hand you my Bible and you can read that. Yeah, but I'm already open to the passage.
I came prepared, Tim. Am I reading it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I mean, I like the slow process of opening my Bible.
I know you do.
Tim's all about being timely. He wants to make sure I'm going to take my time here, Tim.
Can we insert like the Jeopardy
here.
music at some like
I'm
in
on
the
purpose
thing?
not
or is
going
that
to.
there's like a trademark on that or a copyright that
Well,
it's
you
not
do
a
like
trademark,
3
it's
seconds,
copyright,
right? Is it the 3 seconds of a trademark song or something like that?
There we go.
Okay.
That was my 3 seconds.
Okay, so where we starting? Old Tim Rooney.
1 Samuel 16.
Okay, 1 Samuel. Okay, so not 1:16,
No, 1 Samuel chapter 16.
chapter 16. Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
And it is the first 13 verses. Although, why don't we just read the first 5?
Okay.
now?
Now the Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you grieve over Saul, since I have rejected him from being king over Israel?" We really skipped ahead on this one. "Fill your horn with oil and go. I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have selected a king for myself among his sons." But Samuel said, "How can I go? When Saul hears of it, he will kill me." And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. And you shall invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. And you shall anoint for me the one whom I designate to you." So Samuel did what the Lord said and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the city came trembling to meet him and said, Do you come in peace? And he said, "In peace I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice." He also consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice.
Okay, so 1 Samuel 16 begins with God speaking to Samuel. And it's really funny to me. This is entirely a side note, but I think it's important that the prophets, Moses, Samuel, Elijah, Jonah, they all bicker with God.
Yeah.
Like in a way that, at least in evangelical culture that I was kind of raised in, adjacent to, went to college in,
Sure.
like is completely unacceptable. Like
Really?
this. Yeah, the idea that you would question what God is saying to you,
Oh.
or that God would tell you to stop being cranky. Like it's just kind of like God is sovereign. We accept what God does. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's all a very like Job 1 kind of response to anything God throws at you. Whereas the prophets, the people who God was directly speaking to all the time, like they quibble with him.
It's a familiarity they have with them.
Right. But then that's a way that seems like,
Foreign.
in a way it feels like as you mature, or it seems like what it should be is, as you mature, you would quibble less and less with God. You would be more accepting of what happens and the things that he says. Like you would be more, you'd be more like that when you're young and just be like, why is God doing this to me? God, why are you acting this? But as you get older and you learn and you're wiser, then you would understand everything has its purpose or whatever. But this chapter opens with God being like, how long are you going to mourn over Saul?
Yeah.
Like it's a very much like get up off your butt.
Figure it out, kid.
Yeah, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when he tells him what to do, Samuel's like, how could I even do that?
Yep.
And Samuel has been living a life in service to God now. He is an old man.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it since he was a child. Literally.
Well, you look at the background of Samuel too. Like, not only was he, his mom devoted to the Lord and everything else, and he started hearing the Lord at a very young age. You go further in, and you go to the story where, like, the people wanted a king. That's why I said that little comment. I'm like, we kind of skipped ahead of this one. 'Cause my brain says this story starts when the people beg for a king.
Yes. So that's exactly where I was going off on a
it's cool.
tangent there.
So they beg him for a king. They beg him for a king. You're the man of God. Like we had judges, but we want a king now. Everyone else is a king. We want a king.
Yeah.
So he says, no, God says, you don't want this. And then they keep begging for one. And they're like, so finally God relents and says, okay, which again speaks to the same thing you just talked about, the quibbling, the back and forth, the come on, come on. We want, we want this thing. And so you skip forward now to this point, and I'm sure you want to fill something in there probably too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, so the reason Samuel is mourning over Saul is for what you just said. Like Samuel is raised in the tabernacle with working basically as a priest under Eli. And so his life is dedicated to serving God, and God raises him up as the last of the judges. So Samuel comes right after, like when it comes to the narrative story of the Bible, you have Judges, and then you have Samuel.
Right.
And he's literally described as kind of the last judge after Samson, after Gideon, all of those guys. Samuel arrives on the scene. He's a priest first. Right. He serves God as a priest, and then he becomes a judge. Yeah. And essentially God lifts him up to lead the people against the Canaanite enemies who are around them, who are oppressing them. And Samuel's dedicated his life both in service to God as a priest and then in service to God as a warrior, essentially. And then as he's getting advanced in years, the people tell him, you know what, we're kind of tired of this whole, like, a judge comes along and reigns over us. And also Samuel's sons weren't great people. And they were kind of reminded the people of Eli's sons before them who were corrupt. And they're like, you know what, we're tired of this, like, unofficial role that all you guys have. Give us a king. Give us the stability that these other nations have. And Samuel gets in his feelings about it.
Right.
Like, he's not thrilled.
Well, he's tormented by it.
Yeah, well, he's like, this... First off, he feels like he's being rejected. And God literally speaks to him and says, don't take it personally. It's not you they're actually rejecting, it's me.
Yeah.
They don't like my system. They don't like the way I am.
But he's the go-between. And that's why you see this friction in the beginning when you see him, like, having that, like, he's tormented by this. He's like, this was my job. I thought this was cool. And then now, not only, now you're switching your mind. God, you're changing this whole, so now I have to be the mediator between this guy who thinks he's king and his son's going to be king.
Yeah.
And now this little boy's going to be king? Like, what is this?
Well, so Samuel has to pivot and have a late career change here. Because he goes from, like, priest to judge, and now he has to go to mentor. And God says, all right, I'm going to give them what they want. They're not going to like it, but I'm going to give them what they want. And so Samuel finds Saul, God shows him and picks Saul. Yeah. And Samuel invests all of his time and his energy and his spiritual guidance into Saul to ensure that even though having a king is not what they should have wanted, he's going to make sure it works as good as possible. And Saul fails spectacularly.
Yeah.
Saul, there's some early triumphs. He's like, Saul is good looking. He's, the Bible says he's like a head taller than everybody else. Yep. Like, he looks like a king.
He's a king. He's royal.
But he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it at first, which is a good trait for a king. Like, they go to anoint him and he's hiding. Like, they can't find him to crown him because he's scared. Which you'd think would be a good trait, but it turns out that his being afraid of the people actually becomes one of his defining traits. That's not great. But anyway, so on multiple occasions, Samuel has to go to Saul and say, what are you doing? Like, I told you to do this. This is the word from God. This is what God asked you to do, and you ignored it. You rejected it. And in the last time, which is depicted in the movie as well, but this scene where, like, Samuel's leaving Saul. He's, like, just forsaken and saying, I'm done with you. Yeah. And Saul, like, reaches for to grab him, and he tears Samuel's cloak.
Yeah, yeah.
And Samuel turns to him and says, like, just like you've torn the back of my cloak, God is going to tear the kingdom from you and your line, essentially. You will not, your sons will not sit on the throne, and so on. And it kind of sounds like Samuel is just being this, like, I don't know, talking head who's, like, narrating what's happening with Saul, and it's like, so be it, thus saith the Lord. But internally, Samuel is looking back at his life's work now and seeing that everything he's ever invested in has been rejected or has fallen apart. And so he is grieving Saul, in spite of the fact that he's the one who's giving the, this sounding somewhat vindictive statement of, like, God's taking the kingdom away from you. Samuel's not happy about it.
No.
He's beat up and he's mad. And so he shows up, like, this story begins with God saying, I need you to anoint another king.
And I would say this too. He's grieving himself too, right? Like you know. I mean, I know, and you know both. Like working on some project for a long time and then just being like, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden, it's just no longer yours, and there's no legacy to it. It's just burp.
Yeah,
and it might just die. Like I remember being a chaplain over at Kiefer.
Mm-hmm.
Kiefer doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Chaplaincies in the school don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, that building I was in, it's done.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like I'm relating to this. Like I only put a couple of years in.
Yeah.
This man put a whole lifetime into this all.
Yeah. You want to feel like what you're doing has meaning, particularly if you are like it's a spiritual calling.
And he's a king.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah. If the person you're training
deal.
is a king,
yeah.
like you'd like to say, like, all right, I helped the nation transition from one stage to another, and it was difficult and it was hard, but look at the positive result, and he doesn't get that.
No, yeah.
And he's old at this point. Like he's not gonna live to see the height of David's kingdom, and where David goes.
Right.
And so this is kind of the end for him. Like this is like the last thing he's going to go do.
It's his golden
officially.
years.
At least it's recorded in the Bible. We
Right.
don't see much after this. But yeah, so this how long will you grieve over Saul? Obviously is a statement of Samuel's kind of regret about where his life has been to this point. But then the second part of the statement is, you know, God saying, all right, I need you to go anoint David. And Samuel's like, hey, you're forgetting something. Like Saul still sits on the throne. You can't anoint another person king when there's already a king. Like there's no such thing as a king in waiting, you know, like some, you know, or sports teams might have like a coach who's like been there for forever and he taps like his young offensive coordinators. Like when I retire, this guy's going to take over or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in kingdoms. But you don't transfer the king from one kingdom from one person to another.
Yeah. Right.
It's too because you know a kingdom is passed to your son, and if it's going to someone else, then that means your son will always be a threat to the legitimacy of this next person.
Right.
And that's certainly what Saul is going to see. I mean, Saul obviously knows he's going to die someday, whether what Samuel tells him is going to happen and his house is going to fall into ruin, or whether he lives to a ripe old age and just goes like, but the problem for this is, it's not going to be, if my son is not going to rule in my stead, what does that mean? What does that mean is going to happen to my son? Because sons of kings who don't become kings, don't live,
right,
or they don't live certainly in the same place.
And in a similar way, you look at the king. Okay, so there were kings that would kind of go to like a king emeritus status in those days. They would go to like this retired kings because they're just so old they couldn't rule.
Yeah,
so they passed off their sons. But they would be given this wonderful kind of after royalty status. They might still be kind of a king, but they don't have like the legitimacy of a king. Like someone told me once that like the most powerful position in a kingdom is a prince, because all of the power is coming to you. It's not leaving you. A king is leaving you slowly.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and this whole thing about like if you're king, you've made it to the top. It's like a heavyweight championship, right? The heavyweight guy, the champion, or any champion of any like discipline of any like martial art or boxing.
This is our second sports analogy in the last few minutes.
They're always watching out behind them because there's always someone trying to take it from them, right?
Yeah.
If you're number two, no one's trying to take number two from you. They don't care about number two, and that's kind of what I'm saying here. Is like a prince is given that, but in this model that God's given, there's not a prince that gets that. There's no lineage to this at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's assumed that there would be.
It's assumed, but it's not.
Until Samuel says
Right.
it's not happening.
Right.
Like up until that point, it's just assumed that Saul's son will reign in his stead.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it works. And so right off the bat, when you're introduced to David, you're also introduced to Saul's paranoia.
Yeah.
That he is going to be replaced by someone. Someone is going, and therefore Saul is going to do what kings do when they think there is a threat to the legitimacy of their kingdom.
Yeah.
Which is exterminate, wipe out the threat, drive it out, whatever the case might be.
Herod didn't do that, did he?
Yeah, he's not the first, nor will he be the last king who goes through drastic measures to ensure the safety and prosperity of their kingdom by violent means.
Yeah.
So we get to this point. So Samuel kind of comes to Bethlehem, I wouldn't say under false pretenses.
Yeah.
But he's certainly not telling everyone why he's really there. And it actually says when he arrives at the gate in Bethlehem, the elders of the city are trembling.
Yeah.
Because they know there's been a fallout between Samuel and Saul. I don't know that Samuel is on the run or he's a fugitive or hiding from Saul necessarily, but he's not on good terms with him.
He's avoiding him for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you have a fight with somebody you love and you don't really see him for a minute.
It's like maybe we just don't pass each other in the hallway if we can help it. Yeah. But it seems like everyone is aware of this tension. And so the elders of the city are like, why are you here? If you came to like pronounce some sort of evil against Saul, like already people are scared.
Yeah.
People are afraid of what's going to happen with Saul. And so Samuel shows up. He's like, I got to do a sacrifice. Don't worry. It's God's business. I'm just going to do a sacrifice and I need to take this guy and his sons with it. It's for his family. And I was like, sure, no problem. So he goes in, he gets Jesse, he gets his sons. I'm not going to read through the, names of his 7 sons or whatever.
Yeah.
But essentially, the story follows that Jesse and his sons are standing before Samuel, and there's 6 of them. 6 of them standing there, and when Samuel looks at the oldest, Eliab, he says, looks like a king.
Yeah.
This guy, look, he's put together well. He's impressive.
Surely the Lord's anointed is before me.
Right? Yeah. So Samuel makes an assumption based on, Eliab passes the eye test.
Yep.
Samuel judges the book by its cover. We can use how many more metaphoric phrases, colloquialisms. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and God says there's this statement that's very important, like to the life of David, which is like, look not on the outward appearance. God looks at the heart.
Let me read it to you.
Sure.
Do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For God sees not as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.
No. Rejected sounds harsh in this sense. It's not like, I don't think God doesn't dislike Eliab necessarily.
No, he just rejects.
But he's like,
king.
I'm not basing this decision on who would be a good king based on who looks the part.
Right. Did that once.
Yeah. Well, and I think that becomes kind of a theme even into the next story with David, which is like looking the part is so much of what being a king is about, right? Like at least by earthly kingdom standards, you want a king who is imposing. You want a king who, again, another sports, we don't usually do sports analogies, but
too bad.
In football, like you would have the first guy off the bus is a statement like you would make. So you put your biggest guy to be the first guy. So when you get off the bus, if you're the visiting team and you get off and the other team's watching you come in, you want your biggest guy being the first guy off the bus so that they see and they're like, oh shoot, that's who we're playing, these guys. And so it's like this there's a tactical reason for wanting a king who is big and strong and looks good holding a sword.
Well, and I'll say this too. Generally speaking, a king back then would fight all the wars with their men. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't be sitting back at the castle waiting for war to be done. They'd be out there. So generally speaking, a big, strong dude that was imposing on a battlefield generally got a leadership position.
Yeah.
Because they usually survived quite a while, and they were successful, because of them big old muscles.
Yeah, and there's also something to when you see a big, huge guy swinging a sword around, it's someone to rally to, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, we're going to rally to this guy, which is why so often popular generals end up getting assassinated by kings, because kings look out there and see them winning battles and see them gaining favor with the military.
We see that
and
now.
That's a legitimate threat.
I mean, look at Venezuela back in the 1990s. That's how they gained power, as a military coup.
Are we going into geopolitical?
No, I'm just saying it's a good example of even now it does. We have that. I mean, Cuba, same thing. I mean, Cuba's a different story, but that's different. But it's
not a in ancient and medieval times kind of. It's
still happening
through the history of humankind.
Yeah,
Like people look for big guys,
Yeah.
imposing guys to be the leaders, to be the ones you want to look to. And so what God is rejecting in this verse is not really Eliab himself.
No.
It's the notion that you need a big, strong guy in order to represent you. That in order to represent well and to represent strength, like you have to have a big, strong, imposing figure.
Yeah.
So Samuel takes that to heart and then goes down the line.
Each one.
Yeah, 1 through 6, and it's none of them. Like God's speaking to him, and he's like, no, 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 no. And so he turns to Jesse kind of comically, and he's like, do you have any other sons? And so he has to run and get David. Like David wasn't, like when Jesse got his sons together and he knew what Samuel was doing, he didn't even bother to
He
grab
didn't consider David.
Yeah, he didn't think like, well, no one's really, I mean, David's the youngest. Somebody's got to take care of the sheep. So let's pick the one who's obviously not going to be
Yeah.
the king.
He's a little kid. Also, real quick, he tells Jesse, we're not going to sit down until he's in here. Now, I don't know how far away David was, but in the movie, it's depicted that David's kind of a distance away. He's not like at the town square.
Yeah, well, they're in Bethlehem, and so assuming he has the sheep outside of town.
It's probably, I've seen sheep in town in the Middle East before, but that's
Probably not where
common.
he was shepherding
It's
them.
not common. They usually bring them in for like, water.
Yeah.
or something.
David's probably not super popular if he has all the sheep blocking the main
Yes,
roadway.
the smell was pretty good too. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so they have to go get David and bring him back, and then he gets anointed. And that's kind of where the story ends for now. But it ends in this like very precarious state. Like it's very heartwarming when we just tell the like he picks the youngest, not the oldest. He picks the smallest, not the biggest kind of way. And root for the underdog. God chooses the little guy, kind of story.
Yeah.
But it ends basically with them then having to keep this a very important what is probably simultaneously the proudest moment of Jesse's life. One of his sons has been picked, ordained to lead Israel.
Yeah.
They cannot tell anyone about.
Yep.
They absolutely can't tell anyone or they will die.
Yeah.
And as we learn immediately after this, like his 3 oldest sons are in Saul's army.
Right.
Like, and so it's not like they're this unknown, obscure family who like can stay out of the limelight.
They're in it.
Yeah, they're in it, and they're only going to get more in it as we get further into the story.
And I'll just say this too, like the next part here that talks about. I was reading ahead a little bit. I'm trying to remember some stuff, but at that point when he anoints David, the Spirit of the Lord departs from Saul. That moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like the comforting Holy Spirit that led Saul for years departs from him, and then this evil spirit from God is terrorizing him. So it becomes this whole different person.
Yeah. So if you read the passage, it tells you first that like the Spirit comes upon David. Like once he's anointed, it comes upon David, and then the next thing you read is it left Saul. It's almost like there's a transference.
Absolutely.
Like the Spirit of God moves from the anointed King Saul to the newly anointed David. But again, like God has chosen David to replace Saul. Saul's still in power. Saul still controls the military. Saul is still a king who is to be feared, and David is just a kid.
Speaking, yes.
Like, and so there's this, it's a very precarious position for David to be in. This heartwarming story is actually a story of like unknowns and like, all right, God has chosen me, so I assume we're going to be okay. But like, and I appreciated that about the movie that we watched, was that like Eliab is kind of portrayed as like a naysayer throughout. I mean, which we get in like the Goliath story, excuse me, in the Bible, but then like continually, and you have to have that character who's just always kind of like being
stick in the mud.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah. But like, when you look at Eliab's reason for it in the movie, it's because like our whole family is in danger. Like, our whole family is in. If this gets out, if you don't keep a lid on it, we are all going to die. And that's kind of like the undercurrent of all the next stories that have to do with David, all the way up until he finally actually sits down on the throne and becomes king.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the opening passage. That's kind of where we start.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about Saul's torment in in our next episode, which will be about Goliath.
Okay.
But that's kind of where I wanted to leave that for this week.
So,
any closing thoughts on your end?
yep.
All right.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening or watching. I won't call it a video again because Justin makes fun of me.
Video.
Okay.
It's a video.
Video. Did I say it like that, or are you
Yeah,
just kind of?
kinda.
Okay. Well,
I'm
whatever.
just kidding.
Thanks, guys, for tagging along. We'll have these up somewhat in the near future.
Don't
Obviously, once
promise
you see
dates.
it.
Don't
Well,
promise
I'm not going to
dates.
promise dates because like they'll see it once it's up. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Hey,
whenever
we're
you
up.
see it, but like once it's there, please comment and let us know what you think of it. Ask questions. We want to try and make an effort to be more interactive if we can be.
Yeah, sure.
So, thanks again for sticking around.
Yeah, bye.